Welcome to another time-lapse model build. Yes, this is what they call the circus wagon, what was originally called the Dragon Wagon, designed by Tom Daniel. And I had this one when I was way much younger. Again, in somewhere around the 10 or 12 years old range. But I decided, after I rebought it to build, I wanted to do this one as spectacular as I could. Yeah, let's just say the first build really stunk. It was a yellow model after I finished building it. So this time around, all the bells and whistles, as much as me as an amateur model builder can possibly do with it. I've cut out some of the painting process because there was a lot of painting to be done on this one. As you can see from where we're at right now, I painted the trim and have put together. Something is out of order here. I don't know how that happened, but apparently it did. In any case, because there's going to be a clip coming up where I actually put the cage together, and it's already together there. How confusing is that? How did I not catch that? Okay, I'm not going to go back and redo any of this, so it's just going to play out as it does. Maybe it already happened and I just missed it while I was talking. I don't know. But I had to do a lot of prep work on this model. A lot of prep work. And by prep work, we obviously mean the painting part. And it's just a very time-consuming part of it, and I just didn't think it needed to be added into this. So here we finally got down to putting the engine together after everything has been painted. Then I was able to finally start going through the steps of the instructions. So I'm putting the final touches on the intake manifold tubes, blacking out the top and doing a little touch-up work on it there. Oh, that was so much fun to do. And ain't no telling what I'm doing there. Doing a little trim work. So once I got the engine together, I decided I wanted to ignition it up. I noticed after some research online that not a lot of people, well, actually none of the models I looked at, did anybody add any ignition wires to the engine. Not sure exactly why. I mean, I think it adds a little extra touch to it. So since nobody else did it, I decided I would go ahead and do it. My paint job, back to that again, is probably not the most professional in the world. Because, well, it's an amateur model build. Oh, look at that roof. Look at the roof of the cage right there. I ruined that. Absolutely ruined that. I spray painted it. And I tried to mask off the hatch on the top of it. But that did not go well at all. Because the tape did not seal it down. And I forgot 2 pieces of the tape on the roof whenever I spray painted it. So when I peeled them off, it was like crap. So after I peeled the mask off of the hatch, well, it was totally jacked. So I ended up taking an X-Acto knife and completely cutting the hatch out of that part of the roof. As luck would have it, I had an extra Dragon Wagon model that I purchased on eBay a long time ago that had been partially started, not very well, mind you, and probably didn't even have all the pieces to it. At least it didn't look like it. But I did have the roof. So I cut the hatch off of the old one, and I trimmed it up enough to put it on my new one. And I did not do that great of a job of it because, well, that's not something I'm very good at. In any case, I did get it on there and painted it and detailed up the hinges. And after I did get it on there, I realized later that I had actually put it on sideways. So I don't guess it really matters. It just makes my model more unique. And I decided at some point in it, whenever I was doing the build, after I completed the cage and everything, that I would not glue the roof, would not glue the roof in place, so that if I ever decide to display this model at a show, which is probably never, because like I said, my paint job kind of does suck a little bit. It's not too awfully terrible, but it's not exactly show worthy good. But I could show my friends by taking the roof off and show the cool dragon inside. I was pleased with the paint job I did on the dragon. Oh, that was another thing. Whenever they retooled this and re-released it as Circus Wagon, they almost completely redid the dragon for the model, which is, I guess, not too shocking, kind of surprising, but they did. And this actually does have a better dragon in it than the original. Has a little more detail to it, and it paints up really nice. Oh, and at the end of this, I do have a good slideshow of all different angles of the model that I took with a good camera to get some at least decent pictures of it. So, hey, at least stay for that. Here I am working on the front end. Now, the one thing about building models is, if you're not a casual builder, is that, man, you've got to do a lot of scraping. You've got to get that chrome off of those parts or nothing will stick. That is one thing that Tester's glue will not stick to, is paint and chrome. It will actually kind of stick to paint a little bit, but chrome, no dice. That, you'll have parts falling off of it eventually. So lots of little tiny parts to be scraped off to be placed to get that front end to stay. Such a unique model. Such a unique model. I can't say how much I'm very pleased that it did turn out so much better than my 10-year-old build did. And I really appreciate the people that did post pictures of different dragon wagons online, of different paint jobs and stuff. It kind of give me something at least to go by. And I went mainly by the paint job on the box. I stuck as kind of close to that as possible. There were a few different inspirations that I took from some of the paint jobs I did see. One was the exhaust pipes of this model, to get the black holes that kind of show up in the video there a little bit. I had to do some more masking and painting to get that white edge around the pipe. That was real tough for me to do. Some of them turned out pretty good. There's a couple on there that look kind of cruddy, but overall I achieved what I was attempting. I don't know who the people were that did those, but I really appreciate that inspiration for that. I did see some paint jobs that were just, wow. I'm going like, why did you do that to that model? That was just, they were different. I don't know if you could actually say they were actually horrible. I mean, they were well painted, but they just looked weird. Sometimes you can just make a good model look weird with a crazy kind of paint job. Here we go. Finally getting it on wheels. That was a major accomplishment right there to get to that point in the build. It was all on build, all on wheels. I think here comes a part. Yes. No, I don't know. Somewhere along the lines, I must have went through that part really quick. Doing the detail work on the steps. Now, what did not happen in this video is me actually attaching the cage to the frame, because I did not realize my camera was so full and it quit. It didn't actually quit. It just, whenever I stopped it, it would not save that recording because it was full and I did not realize it. My bad. I've got to be more careful of that. Some of these sessions, even though it is a time-lapse build, they could run up to like 2.5 hours. And this one only took about a week to build, over 2-hour sessions, sometimes 3. It did at least spare you the process of putting the decals on. There weren't very many decals to actually put on this model, but they're on there. Not as much as my last one, which, even though there was not a lot of decals to put on that, there were a lot more than this one took to put on. The main thing on this was some of the hard-ass detailing, like right there, putting that silver trim around a clear windshield. Oh, there were a few places that, yeah, I screwed up, because, let's face it, 62 years old, my hand is not as steady as it was long ago. I wish I had built this one like 10 years ago, but I was literally scared to build it because, well, I just did not want to totally, completely jack it up with my crappy paint job. And although it's not the best paint job in the world, it still turned out enough to satisfy me for a cool ass looking build. Those running boards were weird. They were mounted onto the exhaust pipes. I was actually considering building mounts for them so they weren't mounted on the exhaust pipe, but I did not. Okay, here we go. I zoomed in, last shots there, and coming up, here are the pictures. So this is the slideshow of the pictures as we go through them. I hope you enjoyed the build, and I hope if you're a model builder, amateur, professional, or otherwise, and you can find one of these on eBay, get it and build it, because it's a snazzy model. I like it. That's a big decal on the back. I like that one. That's a cool decal. Okay. That's all I got for this session of time-lapse building, so if I actually post another one, I hope you enjoy it. A few more pictures coming up. See the dragon? Dragon looks cool. And I did take a lot of pictures. My bad. But, you know, when something turns out that cool, you want to, like, share it. There's my cool ignition system. I'm pleased with the way that turned out. All right. Getting down to the end. Thanks for watching the time-lapse build of the Dragon Wagon.